My parents had taken my sister to visit relatives, and I stayed home alone because I had a cold. The floating comments on the screen instantly wiped away any sleepiness I felt. Holding my breath, I leaned toward the peephole. All I could see was thick, inky blackness. That wasn't right. Even if the motion sensor light was broken, it shouldn't have been pitch dark. There should have been at least a glimmer of light. Something was wrong. The killer was looking through the peephole too. Just one door between us, our faces nearly touching. One comment read, "Don't say it. That guy from the arts college is home alone. Poor thing. No matter how much he struggles, it's useless." Another said, "Stop looking back. You shouldn't have looked back." It was an eye, pressed right up against the peephole, and I gasped, stumbling backward, and the knocking on the door suddenly became urgent and heavy. "I know you're in there," the man said, his voice laced with a strange, snake-like charm. "I'm your dad's friend. I came to wish your family a happy new year. I even brought lots of gifts. Come on, open the door." The icy cold of the doorknob bit into my palm, and my fevered brain felt like it was going to explode. Forcing myself to stay calm, I shouted, "Uncle, hold on a second. My parents will be back any minute now." But as soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted it. I probably just provoked him. Then I heard it, the soft scraping sound of a wire picking the lock. He was trying to break in. It wouldn't take long. I stared at the screen, trembling. My phone. I fumbled with numb fingers and yanked it out, frantically sending messages to the family group chat. Our relatives weren't far away. If I could just stall him, there was still hope. "Run. Why are you still standing there waiting to die?" A comment scrolled by. "So dumb. No wonder you were targeted. Ugh. Victim blaming? Really? Wait, was I seeing this right? Did I actually open the door?" Just before the lock could be fully picked, I suddenly yanked the door open. There was no escape, not really. Even if I locked myself in a room, he'd find me eventually. Better to face him now than wait for death in fear. I pretended to stay calm and said, "Uncle, my dad just called. He's already in the elevator. He'll be up any second. Why don't you come in and wait for him?" The man was tall, his shadow nearly engulfing me. He paused, slowly put away the thin wire, and gave me a suspicious glance. His eyes were like blades scraping against my skin. He turned sideways and squeezed into the apartment. This was my chance. I was just about to make a break for it when a hand, cold and hard as iron, clamped down on my shoulder. "Let's chat," he said. "We'll talk while we wait for your dad." My heart sank. Cold sweat drenched my back. In that moment, I started to doubt everything. Had I just made a huge mistake? But now there was no going back. All I could do was see it through. 5 minutes. I just needed to hold on for 5 minutes. But suddenly, that hand shot out like lightning and clamped around my throat. With terrifying strength, he slammed me against the wall like I was a rag doll. The back of my head throbbed with pain from the impact. His cold breath brushed against my ear, and his low, icy whisper drilled into my mind. "So you let me in on purpose, hoping to buy time. You really think 5 minutes is too short for me to deal with you?" My vision started to go black, and my skull felt like it was going to explode. No, I couldn't die like this. My sister had promised to come back and play tiles with me before she left. I struggled with all my strength, but I couldn't break free. It felt like I was a kite with its string cut, sinking deeper and deeper into a suffocating swamp. Then everything changed. I was reborn. I sat up, gasping for air, clutching my throat. The feeling of suffocation hadn't completely faded. But before I could even process what just happened, that deadly knocking came again. "Hey kid, open the door for your uncle. I'm your dad's friend. Don't open the door. There's a murderer outside." I'd heard people say the protagonist was extremely smart. He stalled the killer for a long time. Though he didn't manage to survive until his parents returned, his actions greatly helped the police capture the criminal. So tragic. He was only 19, still in the prime of his youth, yet he ended up being targeted by a killer. "Stop. I can't bear to keep watching," someone typed. My blood ran cold, but the comments were different this time. Could it be that my previous actions had changed how events were unfolding? Did that mean I wasn't doomed to die? That everything was still changeable? Holding my breath, my mind raced. The knocking was getting louder, heavier. My hands shook as I called my dad. Dad? You're downstairs, right? There's a man outside the door saying he's your colleague. Please hurry up. The knocking began to ease. Maybe he was hesitating. My father instantly understood what I meant. He told me to turn on the speaker. Oh yeah, I didn't expect him to be so quick. We're already in the elevator. We'll be up any moment. Dad kept talking on the phone, buying time. From the first floor to the 13th took only about 30 seconds. Any longer, and the killer would start to realize something was wrong. In a panic, I rushed to my sister's room and quickly took off my shoes, tossing them at her door. Her room was always kept locked. Hopefully, that would mislead the killer and buy me some time. Then I turned and sprinted back to my own room, locked the door behind me, and dove under the bed. I lay on the cold floor, forehead covered in sweat, heart pounding so loud it seemed to echo in my skull. Then, faintly, I heard the door creak open. Footsteps, slow and heavy, thudded closer, each one like a stomp on my chest. Then they stopped. But then, I heard another door being opened. I forgot how to breathe just now, but then my phone wasn't on silent. My mom was calling again. I remembered that I had left the phone away from me. Frantically, I reached out and grabbed it. My fingers were trembling so hard I could barely press the mute button on the side. Fear makes everything worse, biting my lips so hard it nearly bled, trying not to sob. Hey kid, Uncle's here, came the low, chilling voice again. I clamped my hand over my mouth, trying not to make a sound. Suddenly, stop right there, bastard. It was my dad's voice. All the noise outside the door abruptly stopped. I froze in shock. My dad wasn't as tall or strong. If the killer had a knife, he was in serious danger. Tears sprang to my eyes as I scrambled out from under the bed, threw open my door, and shouted, "I'm here!" As expected, hearing my voice, the man turned and charged toward me. The pain was searing, but in that moment, I tapped into a final burst of strength and clung to him with all my might, refusing to let go. My dad grabbed a stool and, with a face twisted in rage, ran at us. The killer and I crashed to the ground together. Just before I lost consciousness, I saw the killer's bloodshot eyes through the smoke and chaos. And in those last moments, I realized I had seen those eyes before. But before I could remember who they belonged to, everything went dark. Darkness swallowed everything again. I woke up once more, gasping, clutching my abdomen tightly. The sharp pain from that cold blade still lingered in my body. Outside the door, the chilling voice returned, right on schedule. "Little brother, open the door for Uncle." But this time, I wasn't overwhelmed by fear. I tried to recall those familiar eyes, only to find they were already starting to fade, like ink spreading in water, blurry, dissolving. Suddenly, the knocking at the door turned violent, snapping me out of my thoughts. I had to find clues elsewhere. My eyes scanned the floating barrage of comments. One small, inconspicuous message tucked away at the end caught my attention. "Sorry, Muna. I can't come play tiles with you anymore." I froze. Only my family called me Muna. The only person who'd ever played tiles with me was my sister. But hadn't she gone abroad just last week? What was this comment? Panic and helplessness wrapped tightly around me. I felt like a mouse in a lab, watched, manipulated, trapped in a cycle no matter how I struggled. No matter how I tried to hide or resist, everything led to the same grim end, as if it were all pre-programmed. It confirmed my deepest fear. This wasn't reality. The idea of survival had been a lie from the very beginning. I had been placed here for a reason. No more hesitation. I rushed to the door and yanked it open. The killer was clearly startled. I stared straight into his eyes, burned his face into my memory. My defiance enraged him. I felt that same icy pain again, but I had a clear goal now. Remember that face. Once, twice, 3 times. Every time his blade pierced me, It was like a searing brand etching his features deeper into my mind. On the 7th time I died, a sudden spark of memory lit up. I'd seen this man in my sister's room. When I woke up again, I rushed to her door and slammed it open. Digging through the very bottom of her drawer, I found an old group photo, her research team posing with their advisor. One person in the picture had a large X drawn across his face. It was him, the same face. With trembling hands, I flipped the photo over and found his name, Frank. The moment I spoke his name, the entire world shattered like a short-circuited image, collapsing, unraveling in an instant. Absolute darkness swallowed everything, leaving only a single beam of cold, pale light shining down on me. I turned toward my sister, trembling. "Sis, is this? Am I dead?" Her eyes were red with tears as she nodded heavily. Tears streamed down her face as she struggled to speak. "I'm sorry. This is a government-use virtual system. It's the first time it's ever been activated." Between her sobs and broken breaths, the truth finally unraveled. Frank was a cancer in the academic world, plagiarizing students' work, exploiting their labor, even resorting to disgusting coercion. My sister and her team had had enough. They gathered irrefutable evidence to report him, but in return, Frank threatened them. One team member, unable to bear the pressure, took their own life. The incident escalated. Frank knelt and begged for forgiveness, but it was just an act. He knew his career was over. My sister and the others were too furious to accept his apology. On the night I died, my sister received a call from a stranger claiming to have more evidence against Frank. Several members of the team had already met tragic ends, so our parents insisted on accompanying her. But the caller was Frank in disguise. He had been lurking beneath our apartment building, planning to follow my sister. When he noticed my parents, he shifted his focus to me, using my death as a warning to our family. Although Frank was eventually caught, there wasn't enough hard evidence to convict him directly. That's when this virtual reality technology was brought in. Because I had sensed something was wrong before dying and tried to act, my body was found within 10 minutes. With my parents' consent, my consciousness was integrated into this system, becoming the key to exposing Frank's crimes. Because this technology had never been used before, they couldn't give me any direct instructions. I had to figure everything out on my own. I was trapped in an endless loop, forced to match his face with his name, and only then could my reconstructed consciousness generate a record strong enough to be used as legal evidence. The barrage of floating comments were carefully designed to subtly convey hints and stimulate my mind, keeping my brain in a state of hyperactivity to support deep memory recall. Only once I pieced together the critical information or triggered a deeper system command would those interference messages disappear. "Muna, I'm sorry," my sister choked out. "You didn't do anything wrong," I told her firmly. "It's that bastard who should pay the price. He's the one who deserves it." She looked heartbroken. "You went through all of that pain again and again. We saw everything from the outside. It's okay," I said. "At least this way I could still help." Then I asked quietly, "But, sis, what about now?" Her face fell. "They won't allow something like this to continue."
Program shutdown countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7.
"Thank you, Muna," she whispered through tears. "It's okay, sis," I said as calmly as I could.
Program terminating.